Hello, we've been having a look at my guitar setup. Today we're going to deal predominantly with overdrive, and we have a new visitor. There's a second track over here. I'll show you what's going on over there in a moment. Just before we set off on all of that, if you want to download this project and get all of these audio files that we're going to be hearing today and in all of this series, check out my Patreon link below. Thanks very much to all of my patrons who've subscribed so far. I really appreciate it. It's awesome stuff. Now then, mysterious track 2. Why is it called Analog and what the hell's going on? On a whim, because that's what this is all about, I plugged some of my old analog pedals in. So I have what's basically these two pedals, not quite the same, but I've got an SD1 into an OD2. This is an emulation. Satch Overdrive is an emulation of the OD1. But I've got both of those original Japanese pedals from the mid-80s. They sound absolutely glorious together. And this little part here, which doesn't particularly sound glorious because I was just playing around, is my first recording of actual analog guitars. So this is a wholly analog sound, which is nothing whatsoever to do with what we're dealing with in the video series, but this is basically a comparison. I'm going to set up a comparison track so that I can really see how close these emulations are getting to the sound that I love. These two pedals together with the drives both turned down almost to nothing is a sound that I absolutely adore. It sounds like this. Absolutely thick, completely monstrous sound. Love it, love it, love it. So that's what I'm aiming for. But that's only one thing that you can do with overdrive. Overdrive is a much, much bigger subject than that. So we have a look at this lazy ARP and head back over to our clean guitar sound. This is what it sounds like clean. I'm currently going through the AC30. I'm really enjoying this, this particular amp emulation at the moment. That's a lovely clean sound. If you just add a little bit of these overdrives with the drive turned all the way down, maybe one notch for the Satch. See, the volumes haven't got out of hand. We've got two overdrive pedals with their level at maximum, and our volume hasn't got out of hand. We're basically using them as EQ circuits, particularly with the SD1, which this left-hand overdrive is an emulation of. It's famous for this. Turn the level all the way up, the drive all the way down. Everyone who owns an SD1 knows that it's kind of the sweet spot. Now, in the last episode, we were talking about gain staging, and this has been something that I've been playing a lot with this week, hence the EQ sat in the chain. Because I've been enjoying stacking these overdrive pedals together with little to no drive and seeing the effect, the cumulative effect that you get as they all stack together. Eventually you reach a tipping point, as with anything, but you can go quite a long way stacking quite a lot of pedals together. So with two of them turned on, we've still got a very small signal. Third one. Starting to get quite the discrepancy in the volume now, but it's okay. That's why we've given ourselves headroom, so we've got plenty to play with. Let's just spend a moment on this Diode Overdrive because it's really good. It sounds really, really nice. It's a shame that it does because it's an absolute beast when it's on your signal path. You can't tell whether it's on or off. So the difference between on and off is the little white dot on the interface, whereas other pedals turn up nice and bright when they're on. So that's a shame, but and it's not an emulation of a single piece of kit. I think it's an IK Multimedia bespoke thing, but it's brilliant. If you happen to know what this pedal is and you can tell me that it is an emulation of a particular thing, awesome. I don't believe so. If you're going to use it, beware the distortion control, which, believe it or not, this is what that says, is absolutely ridiculous. It operates almost entirely below 1, and then it's just more of the same afterwards. Let's have a different sound. The beauty of gain stacking is that you can turn all of these things on and off, and they're not contributing that much difference to the overall volume. So it becomes like this huge Cartesian matrix of joy. All of the pedals sound different in all these different configurations. This is what it's all about. No longer trying to like plumb yourself into that single perfect sound. You know, just have fun, mess with the knobs, get a good sound. That's all it matters. That's all that matters. The Proco Rat is very nice as well. Just a quick word about the Proco. The filter knob is back to front, so bright to the left, dull to the right. And then finally, this T-Rex Mudhoney is awesome as well. Notice I've got all of the gains turned almost all of the way down on all of these effects, and listen to how thick it's getting. If you're going to gain stack this way, take note that the pedals on the right hand side are having the most impact on the volume. There's only so much stuff that you can send into an effects unit before it starts clipping. Once it's clipping, it's not getting any louder. At that point, it's getting more distorted. And so your primary volume control should come on the right hand side. You'll note that there's a dramatic difference in the volume coming out of the Proco. And much less out of something in the middle of the chain. It's affecting the volume because there's still a little bit of headroom left to give, but not much. I could bring something like a DS1 in for something that's a little bit more gritty, and that's just actually thrown the Proco away because you can only have 6 pedals in any one slot. Let's get rid of this EQ. Well, this DS1 is much more brutal than all the others. So a genuine distortion, the distortion, I suppose you could say. If you put that at the front of the chain, and all of the overdrives afterwards, the heavily distorted signal is basically only being boosted because there's very little else that these overdrive pedals can do to affect that already brutal sound. On the other side of the fence, I'll just get that going again and then I'll move it while it's playing. There was a time I would have said one was better than the other, but I hope I'm past that at this point, and I'm just, everything's good. That's what it all comes down to. One small interface note as far as Amplitube is concerned, you can't pick the Satch Overdrive up. This is, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, there's no interface to it, so you have to basically pick one of the other pedals up and move it around that way. That is not cool. See, on the SD1, for instance, the black bit is an interface and everything else is a pedal switch. Whereas on the Satch Overdrive, the entire pedal is your on-off switch. So yeah, nice one. Now there are lots of other honourable mentions in Amplitube. The Seymour Duncan Power Grid is a wonderful distortion effect. Another T-Rex pedal here, the Moller, that's great. I've been having the wonderfulest TM time with the OCD, the full tone pedal this week. These are magnificent emulations. The one thing that you're lacking, and the reason why I went back to my analog pedals this week, is because all this stuff, which is brilliantly emulated, kind of wants to go into a tube amp. That's the bit, I think, where if I have to give Amplitube a lower score than all of the other categories, it is in the amplifier section. That's a compromise. What I will say in Amplitube's favour, though, is that it sounds awesome in a recorded song. So because we're here to write songs and everything else is really a supporting role to that, I can live with it. But if I just want to wail away and jam on my guitar, then having the analog pedals, you know, it's just another nice thing that I'm enjoying doing at the moment. Just before we head off for the day, I'll put the diode back where the DS1 was, and we'll have a bit of a play with these 5 pedals. I'll just basically get a loop going, show you some of the stuff that these various pedals can do, and see if we can come up with a good sound. See how that instantly improved? Much better. You get the idea. It's just so much fun. Get a copy of Amplitube and start playing with it. It is just so much fun. I'm having the best time. Thanks very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please hit like if you did. I'll see you next time.